The closet for sure. He has a little bit more free time.
Yeah, I got some more free time now. But we both have swag, you know what I'm saying? We get it from prime time.
Yeah.
He hates to say it, but everything he try to wear, our dad already did. So he think he be doing his own thing, but
I'm on the way up. I'm on the way up. I'm on the way up.
Shedeur Sanders has officially detonated a bomb in the fashion world, and this time it has nothing to do with a football field. This is not hype. This is not rumor culture. This is real money, real luxury, and real power. Shedeur Sanders has made an extraordinary debut with elite luxury fashion brand Amiri in Paris, and the numbers attached to this move are turning heads across both industries. We are talking about a reported $80 million deal, and yes, that number is every bit as wild as it sounds. This move instantly sent shockwaves through the sports world and the high fashion space at the exact same time, and that almost never happens.
His contract, he had an equity clause in his deal with Gatorade. That clause basically said, I'm not just here as a name or a body. I want part of what's being built off of me. I want ownership in the outcome. So that clause essentially just preserved his interest. He walked away with his corrected status in the...
When athletes cross over into fashion, it's usually slow, cautious, and heavily filtered. This right here is bold, loud, and unapologetic. And it gets crazier. According to multiple reports, Shedeur didn't do this alone. His brother Shedeur Sanders is right there with him. Both brothers reportedly signed together for that same $80 million deal, and this isn't a basic endorsement where they smile for a photo shoot and disappear. No, this is high-level involvement. Both brothers are expected to walk the runway in Paris, and we are not talking about some side event or low-key appearance. We're talking full-scale European luxury fashion week, bright lights, elite designers, industry power brokers, and cameras everywhere.
Sanders has sold the most amount of jerseys out of any rookie this year, 375,000 jerseys to match his NFL contract.
1 minute it's touchdown celebrations, the next it's Paris catwalks, and Shedeur looks completely comfortable in both worlds. And let's be honest, this transition doesn't feel forced. Shedeur already carries himself like someone who belongs in luxury spaces. The confidence, the style, the presence, the attention to detail. This isn't an athlete trying to cosplay fashion. This is someone who already understands image, branding, and influence at a high level. Now some people might ask the obvious question. Why Shedeur Sanders? Why would a prestigious luxury brand like Amiri throw $80 million at a football player who is still early in his professional journey? Here's the real answer. Influence. Shedeur Sanders doesn't just have fans, he has cultural gravity. Reports say Amiri moved aggressively because Shedeur commands massive influence in the American black community, especially among younger audiences who shape trends before brands even catch up. Luxury brands don't just want buyers anymore. They want believability. They want authenticity.
Yeah, I'm just excited for all of them. I gifted a lot of receivers the Prime DT96s. You know, a couple of them had them on. So I just gifted a couple of like the main receivers going into this game. You know, I gifted them some cleats. Some warm, some didn't, but I was like, okay, this is just my little appreciation gift to them. Because they don't be having a lot in stock, so I couldn't do everybody. I wish I could. Yeah, I'm just excited.
They want someone who actually represents the lifestyle, not someone pretending to understand it. And Shedeur Sanders checks every one of those boxes. This isn't about selling jackets or runway looks. This is about cultural relevance. This is about bridging the gap between street culture and high fashion, between luxury and real-life influence. Amiri didn't just sign an athlete. They signed a connector, someone who can translate luxury into something people actually care about. And now Shedeur is already in Paris, preparing to walk that runway. Let that sink in. His value is climbing on the field. But off the field, it's accelerating at a pace most athletes never experience. This isn't luck. This is strategy. And now here's where the story goes from impressive to flat-out unbelievable. Let's rewind for a second.
Yeah, we playing that shallow. Yeah. Which one my daddy cleat should I wear? 93s, 96s. I don't know. Decision.
Before this fashion deal ever hit the headlines, Shedeur Sanders was already playing chess while others were playing checkers. Gatorade reportedly offered him $60 million over 3 years, and for most athletes, that's an automatic yes. That's life-changing money. That's security. That's the type of deal agents dream about closing. But Shedeur Sanders didn't take it. Instead of accepting the standard endorsement check, Shedeur structured a deal that included 3% ownership of Gatorade USA. Read that again. Ownership. He passed on guaranteed short-term money for equity in one of the most powerful beverage brands on the planet. That is not a normal athlete decision. That is executive-level thinking. This is the type of move that separates players who make money from people who build empires. On the surface, 3% might not sound massive, but context matters. Gatorade USA generates billions of dollars annually. Billions. Owning even a fraction of that means Shedeur Sanders isn't just earning checks today. He's positioning himself to earn for decades. This isn't about cashing out early. This is about ownership, leverage, and legacy. This is about understanding how money works when the cameras turn off.
Yeah.
And here's the part that really makes people uncomfortable. If the numbers continue trending the way they are, Shedeur Sanders is on track to potentially become the youngest NFL billionaire while still playing. Not after retirement. Not through post-career investments. During his playing career. That's not normal. That's not common. That's rare vision, rare discipline, and rare confidence. Shedeur Sanders isn't just changing what it looks like to be a quarterback. He's changing what it looks like to be a modern athlete who understands business, culture, and long-term power all at once. He wouldn't have to wait for retirement. He wouldn't have to wait until his 40s or 50s to see the real payoff. We are potentially talking about a billionaire athlete, still in his 20s, still suiting up on Sundays, still taking snaps, still stacking wins, and still rewriting record books at the same time. For most players, billionaire status is a fantasy, something that only exists in documentaries long after their playing days are over. But for Shedeur Sanders, that idea is not unrealistic at all. This is someone who has already had multiple multi-million-dollar offers sitting on the table from major brands before most rookies even understand how endorsement structures work. Shedeur is not moving like everyone else. He's not chasing short-term checks or headline moments. He's operating on a completely different frequency, playing a different game, and thinking several steps ahead of his entire generation. Long before he ever took a single NFL snap, Shedeur Sanders had already shaken the industry. He locked in a record-setting $125 million deal, a number that stopped people in their tracks. At the time, it was unheard of. A player with 0 professional snaps securing that level of money? Naturally, people started talking. Analysts questioned it. Commentators debated it. Social media went wild with hot takes. Fans argued whether he had earned it or not. The criticism came fast and loud. But Shedeur didn't flinch. He didn't respond. He didn't explain himself. He already understood something most people didn't.
I'm always smiling. Yeah, I'm always smiling, that's for sure. I'm heavily involved in the business. I have a vision, and I like to see it be achieved. My purpose and my vision is to be in position to have all the resources I ever need and be able to use them, for people that's coming later on in the generations. And
Value is not always tied to experience. It's tied to leverage and demand. And clearly the brands understood that too. Because the moment Shedeur stepped onto the field for his first preseason action, everything changed immediately. Nike triggered a special active player clause, and just like that, the deal doubled. No renegotiation, no delays. One clause, one activation, and the numbers exploded. That $125 million deal instantly jumped to a jaw-dropping $250 million over 4 years. Let that sink in for a second. 4 years, $250 million, and the contract structure went far beyond just base money. This wasn't just a check. This was a revenue-generating machine. Shedeur also locked in an unheard-of 50% cut of all jersey sales. That alone separated him from nearly every athlete in the league. Jersey sales are one of the most consistent income streams in professional sports, and Shedeur positioned himself right at the center of it. Think about how rare that is. When was the last time you heard of a rookie getting half of all jersey revenue attached to his name? That doesn't happen. That's not standard. That's not even negotiable for most players. While other rookies were celebrating traditional endorsement deals, posting signing bonuses, and talking about their first big purchases, Shedeur Sanders was already operating in a completely different stratosphere. This wasn't rookie behavior. This was executive behavior. And the result? Shedeur didn't just become the highest paid rookie in NFL history. He became one of the most influential athletes across all sports, period. What shocked people even more was who he was outpacing. Big-name prospects like Cam Ward and Travis Hunter were expected to dominate the business conversation, yet Shedeur was the one moving the needle. And here's the part that really flipped the narrative. Shedeur wasn't even selected in the first round. Let that sink in. He wasn't a top pick on draft night, yet he was already making more money and bigger moves than players who were. That alone shattered one of the biggest myths in professional sports. Draft position does not define success. Leverage does. Timing does. Business awareness does. Yes, the NFL draft matters. It opens doors, it sets expectations, but it does not decide who wins long-term. Shedeur Sanders proved that early. He showed that preparation, brand power, and smart decision-making can outweigh draft status every single time. While others were focused on where their name was called, Shedeur was focused on where his future was going. What really matters isn't draft night hype or mock draft rankings. What matters is how you leverage your platform, how you negotiate your deals, and how you position yourself inside the marketplace. Shedeur Sanders understood that from day one, and that's the difference between him and most players around him. While other prospects were stressed about draft stock, projections, and opinions, Shedeur was already building something bigger. He was locking in partnerships, shaping his public image, and laying the foundation for a long-term empire that would outlive his playing career. Shedeur Sanders has never been quiet about his business-first mentality, and it's never been hidden or accidental. From the start, it was clear his influence reached far beyond the gridiron. Football was the engine, but business was the destination. Beyond his record-breaking Nike contract, Shedeur steadily expanded into multiple industries with precision. This wasn't random. This wasn't reckless. This was calculated growth. He launched his own apparel line, tapping directly into a young, loyal fan base that already mirrors his style and mindset. He introduced a signature barbecue sauce brand, connecting deeply with his Southern roots and family legacy in a way that feels authentic and personal. Then came the EA Sports partnership, placing him directly inside the gaming world where millions of young fans spend hours every single day. That move alone guaranteed relevance beyond highlights and box scores. And then there's the Brady partnership. Teaming up with Tom Brady's wellness and apparel company wasn't just symbolic. It was strategic. That alignment instantly positioned Shedeur alongside one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and subtly framed him as a future legend in the making. This is how you build a brand. Not with one-off endorsements, but with connected ventures that reinforce each other. None of these moves were side hustles. None of them were quick cash grabs. Every partnership served a specific purpose in expanding his reach and multiplying his value. The apparel line speaks directly to youth culture. The barbecue sauce reinforces identity and heritage. The EA Sports deal locks in digital relevance. The Brady partnership adds credibility, mentorship, and legacy alignment. That's not luck, that's planning. What makes Shedeur Sanders' journey even more impressive is how authentic he's remained throughout the process. In an era where athletes are often criticized for becoming too corporate or detached, Shedeur has stayed connected to the culture that built him. He hasn't diluted his voice. He hasn't erased his background. He hasn't changed his presentation to fit outdated expectations. Instead, he represents a new generation of athletes who refuse to simply exist inside a narrow box. They understand their value. They understand their influence. And they understand that monetizing that influence doesn't mean selling out. This generation doesn't believe in the old stay quiet and play mindset. They believe in ownership, representation, and long-term leverage. And the Amiri deal fits perfectly into that vision. Luxury fashion has historically been controlled by European aesthetics and narrow perspectives, but brands like Amiri clearly see the shift happening in real time. The future of fashion is diverse, urban, and deeply influenced by Black American culture. Music, sports, street style, and identity are now shaping luxury more than traditional runways ever did. Amiri didn't just sign Shedeur Sanders because he's popular. They signed him because he represents where culture is going next. Shedeur isn't adapting to luxury fashion. Luxury fashion is adapting to him. And that's what makes this entire run so powerful. He's not chasing industries. Industries are chasing him. Hip-hop, streetwear, and sports. These aren't side trends anymore. These are the engines driving global fashion forward. And Shedeur Sanders is standing right at the intersection of all three. That's what makes him so valuable. That's what makes him so powerful. And that's exactly why brands looking to stay relevant in 2025 and beyond see him as the perfect ambassador. Shedeur isn't forcing his way into fashion culture. He's already part of it. His style, his confidence, his background, and his influence all feel natural. Nothing about this feels manufactured or corporate-driven. So when people ask what we can learn from Shedeur Sanders, the lessons are clear and they matter. First lesson: know your worth. Shedeur never waited for permission to value himself. He understood early that if brands saw something in him, it was his job to protect that value and expand it. Second lesson: think long-term. Salary fades. Equity lasts. Every major move Shedeur has made shows a clear preference for ownership, leverage, and future upside over short-term comfort. Third lesson: diversify your income streams. Football careers are short. Bodies wear down. Windows close fast. Shedeur built businesses and partnerships that don't depend on box scores or highlight reels. And the final lesson might be the most important: stay authentic. Authenticity is currency now. Once you lose it, the value drops immediately. Shedeur never disconnected from his roots, his culture, or his identity, and that's exactly why people trust him. Shedeur Sanders isn't just changing the game. He's rewriting the entire playbook for what it means to be a modern athlete. From the football field to luxury fashion runways, from Gatorade boardrooms to Paris Fashion Week, from endorsement deals to ownership stakes. This is bigger than one season or one contract. This is a long-term build, something designed to last decades beyond his playing career. And that's what separates this from hype stories we've seen before. This isn't just money chasing. This is infrastructure. This is vision. This is someone building something that keeps growing even when the cleats come off. So now the real question gets handed to you. What do you think about Shedeur Sanders' $80 million Amiri deal? Is this the future of athlete endorsements? Are we watching the beginning of a new era where athletes stop renting space and start owning it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this breakdown brought you value, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Because journeys like this don't slow down. They only get louder.